Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Revenger Mini mod. I have them topped with the iconic from Vandy Vape and Mike Vapes. So, how does it work so far? Works great. When I first unboxed it, my first thought was it's going to be plagued by battery life issues because of the built-in LiPo. And I have to admit, it does have a slightly short battery life for my style of vaping. I'm a high wattage vapor, guys. That's all I'm going to say. This thing was not designed for that. However, it can support lower wattage vaping and will be a lot more tailored to lower wattage people. So we're going to go down in the up and close and take a look at the Revenger Mini by Vaporesso Unboxed. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Revenger Mini mod by Vaporesso. So the unboxing of the device. On the back here you have the specs of the device. This guy is in black that I have here. And they have their little social media accounts at the bottom. You have a nice USB charging cord right here. It's nice and braided. I really do like this charging cord. You have the mod itself. Just by looking at this device right now, it's going to be a fingerprint magnet. Has a nice clicky protruding fire button. Protruding nicely enough to know that it is there. Nothing like vaping something at night and not knowing where the fire button is. Has some nice venting ports on the bottom for the built-in LiPo battery. And then you have your 510 pin at the top here, which is nice, and your 510 connector right here at the top, which is nice and flush with the device. In the bottom of the box, we have our warranty card, warranty information, and a warning in case you were to misuse this device. It tells you what not to do, and warranty card. You also get included into the box a little how to use certain coils on here, recommended wattages for recommended coils, which may be good for new people. However, whatever shop they're going to should be able to explain this pretty damn well. You also have a instruction booklet in English, one in Asian, and one in Espanol. And that's the rest of what's inside the box. Now for the more important thing, the mod itself. I'm actually going to be throwing the iconic RDA on there by Mike Vapes and Vandy Vape. So as I said, it sits nice and flush with your RDAs there. 5 clicks is going to turn it on. And if you look on the back, it lights up. And whenever you throw a new atomizer on there, it is going to ask you a new load or old load. And if you have a mind anything like mine, that's not going to mean the same thing. Starts you out at 5 watts. You can turn that all the way up to 85. And it's a pretty decent scroll time for what he is. 3 clicks of the fire button will lock the device. Will not let you change the wattage or go into the menu system just by doing that. But one thing I have found out, will let you fire in lock mode. So that's going to have to be a con. Moving on back out from that, it should give you the option whether you want to lock the buttons and fire button or just the buttons itself in the firmware. So to get into the menu, you can either click 3 times or you can do a long press of the middle button right there. So now we're going to look at the menu system. So you have variable wattage high, normal, soft, custom curve wattage. So if I wanted to start out at 85 watts and have it slowly die down, I can. And if I could figure out how to get out of the damn menu. There we go. Okay. So now you have temp control. You have stainless steel, nickel, titanium. You have your M1, M2, and a bypass mode. I actually have been rocking this guy in bypass mode. I prefer the bypass mode just because it makes it act like a mechanical model. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And the out and about. So in the system settings, this is actually a pretty in-depth guy. You have your time set will allow you to change the time and date. If I get out, there we go. You can also have it set to a pointer or a number. Pointer is going to be like an analog clock, and number is going to be a digital clock. You can also turn the clock off if you'd like. And if I can get out. Now you're going to have your brightness. It is a fairly bright screen on there, which is nice to see. In the daytime, it can be hard to see certain screens. You can have control of your puff counter, you can reset, and that's about it. It won't limit your puffs on this guy. You can have smart mode on or off. I'm going to throw it on and I'll show you guys what that does. So we're going to go out to exit. So now when I unscrew this RDA, so we don't have any ohms on there, so it does not recognize an RDA. We're going to go ahead and actually throw this guy into wattage, normal. Now we're going to screw this guy back on. It's going to ask me if it's a new or old load. And it automatically recommends 60 watts for this coil. So that's what smart mode does. It thinks you're too stupid to figure out what you want to vape on, so they decide we're going to put that in the way they want you to vape. I'm going to vape and bypass. Alright, so now you have your puff counter smart on. Now you have your screen timeout. Generally, I set this to a much lower than 15 minutes. 15 minutes will really kill your battery. So I generally throw it down to around 15 seconds or the lowest. Lowest on this one is 3 seconds, so we're going to actually set him to 10 seconds. Now you can control the light on the back. There are a lot of, you can turn the light on or off. You have a red light, red breathing, whatever breathing is supposed to mean. Green bright, green breathing. Apparently bright, I guess, is just on, and breathing is kind of like a fading in and out. Why they couldn't just say fade, I don't know. But you have your RGB, and then you can also do a custom. So let's just go red mode. So you have always, breathing, and flashing. So we're just going to go breathing. I'm going to assume that's fade. And startup. And we're going to do a fire start. Always start means it's always going to be on. Fire start means whenever you fire it, it will turn on. Which I prefer. If you do like the light on the back, having it turn on when you press the fire button means you're going to get the best time of your battery life, as well as you're still going to get that extra feature. Then you have this thing called show mode, which I don't know what the hell it does. And it probably does nothing, or it just shows it right now. Then you also can check your version of the board. This one is version 1.02, and then you can reset things to default. So that is the menu system of this guy, and we're going to head on out to normal view. Alright guys, that was the unboxing of the Vaporesso Mini Revenger. So, how's this guy vape? Vapes wonderfully. I'm actually running this guy in bypass mode, and I have to say I'm actually a little bit impressed with this, to be honest. I didn't think I was going to like it for the fact it's only an 85 watt vape and it's a built-in LiPo battery, and I don't like LiPo batteries for the sole fact I can't replace the batteries in them readily easily. What I mean by that is if this guy's dead, I have to not only put him down and charge him, I can't use him while he's charging. It may say it supports it, but never do that. I've actually had customers come into my shop with a mod that was lit on fire because they were using it while it was charging. It was not one of these guys, but it was another device. So just more facts why you should never use your device while it's charging. Now, when I say I was impressed with this, is because I actually find myself using this guy whenever I'm going out somewhere. I'm going out, let's say food shopping or something like that, or Walmart or wherever, I'm bringing this guy with me. The reason why is because I actually am running him in bypass mode. What that does, it makes it kind of act like a mechanical mod. It fires 100% of the battery 100% of the time. So if you can't fire it at 85 watts constantly because the battery's drained, you can fire them even on bypass mode to bring it down, get a little bit more vape out of it. But I generally run this guy in bypass mode. I use him at night when I'm laying in bed, stuff like that. So that's why this has actually kind of impressed me. I always have an RDA on him. If I'm going out to the mall or something like that, I bring this guy with me. He doesn't last me all day long, granted, I know that. I'm a high wattage vapor. However, he will last me a good couple hours of when I'm out. In a bypass mode, this guy's rocking a 0.13 ohm coil, and the ohms reader on this is 0.02 ohms off. So he's really a 0.15 ohm coil. And he vapes just fine. I actually really enjoy the vape I get off this guy. So I have to say, I'm actually really impressed with this guy. And the shop that I work at, we're currently selling these guys for 60 bucks. For 60 bucks, a little backup mod or your first real variable voltage mod, wonderful, wonderful device. I highly recommend this. If you're looking for something small that you can run out, but you don't want, an MTL, but you want something that you're going to be able to use walking around somewhere that's not going to create a big scene or anything. It's going to slip easily into your pocket. This guy's a fantastic device. Now, I do have other mods I use as my main devices. I'm not using this all day long. So, I do have to say that. Pros and cons of this device. Built-in LiPo for me is going to have to be a con. It's a personal con, but for me it is a con because once the battery goes, I'm going out and having to buy a whole new mod. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that. I'd rather spend 10 bucks on a battery than 60 bucks on a new mod. That's me personally. Any other cons, and one of the huge cons I have on this, I just remembered, is the fact that you can fire him in lock mode. So we're going to go ahead and quick lock him. So you see the little lock, he is locked. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that. Now, what I would like to see is for the fact that they have such an in-depth menu on here, I would like them to see that you could change that in the menu. Vaporesso, if you're watching this, please put a firmware upgrade where you include that. I will check tonight for firmware upgrades, but I don't believe they add that to this because this is a newer device. With that being said, if you could change that where you could just lock the front-facing buttons and not lock this, or you can lock everything. If you had that option, it would make it that much better. But for someone who's new, sticking this into your pocket, doesn't know anything about vapes, come on. It's going to be going off in their pocket. They're going to be burning through juice. They're going to be burning through coils. That's not good. You need to be able to make it so that you can lock the fire button as well. So now we're going to go ahead and go over to the pros. What do I like about this device? I like the fact that it is very small. It's very small and compact. When I'm vaping him, I do run him in bypass mode, and he's going to heat up faster. One of the things I like is the fact that it actually turns the mod, won't let you fire it when it gets too hot. I'm running the coils a little bit dry in here, but it does work in that sense. I really like that because there's a lot of mods out there that will say too hot, or they'll get way too hot. You won't feel safe vaping them, but they'll still let you vape them. It does work on here, which is awesome to see. I have been able to get the 10-second timeout. So if you vape for more than 10 seconds, it will go ahead and say, nope, not letting you fire anymore. So if we actually fire him at 5 watts, should there we go, 10-second cutoff. So the safety features in this device actually do work, which is really awesome to see. Now, it claims that it can actually run this guy down all the way to a 0.05 ohm coil. Are you really going to be running something like that on here? Probably not. This is kind of a more or less a beginner device. However, for someone like me walking around, I do like it. The cons I do have on it, it gets beat out by the pros, because if you did want to lock the fire button, you just turn the device off. He's turning off, and now he's actually got a really quick turn on. Turned on, and now he's ready to vape. Very quick turn on, which I do like. Stuff like that, it makes me on the fence with those pros and cons, but for the person who doesn't necessarily want to turn it off, that is going to have to be a con. If you don't mind turning your device off to lock the fire button, yeah, it's not really going to matter. So that has been the Vaporesso Revenger Mini. And we're going to catch you next time for another review.